Okay, thus concludes our sharing of a deck. We can move over to actually seeing how this works really quickly. I'll walk you through it really quickly, but for instance, Adam and I got together and rebuilt the first section of the intercom checklist the other day with Candu. So here's the editor. As you can see, you can just drag over things like cards or checklists to the screen, and then you can modify it however you want. And if, for example, I was thinking about our favorite software of 2020, 2021 is Zoom. If, for instance, I thought Zoom needed an onboarding checklist, and if I worked at Zoom and could install things on their page, I could go, and this is just a preview experience, but I could drop on my profile page, I could drop in this intercom checklist and obviously update it with Zoom's branding.
For people.
Yeah, now you can see we
Whoa.
built something in the editor and now it's in a web page. And if I wanted to make
this take you to build?
This took me about 20 minutes of time. Obviously, I was copying over the content from Intercom's checklist, so I didn't need to come up with the copy.
That's pretty fast. So it's faster than building it with code, obviously.
It's faster than putting in a ticket with our developers. That's when they have a bunch of other things to do.
But I'd rather build the checklist myself.
Exactly. And if, for instance, I wanted to do some personalization, I don't think we talked about this in user onboarding, but one big thing is like sort of capturing people's attention. I think we're really good at doing this through email marketing, and we're getting better at doing it through our applications. But I would recommend putting in something like someone's first name, and then you can have a variable that fills in whenever someone comes to your page with a fallback. And that way you're sort of making sure that they're paying attention when they get in and that they feel like they're having a good experience. But if, for instance, I wanted to update this for Zoom, it'd be as easy as clicking in, changing out the copy really quickly. I can also click into any of the steps. Obviously, I'd want to change the video and the copy all around, but it's really as easy as building a Google Slides deck almost. It's just a drag and drop editor that you can play around with. Well, we have about 5 minutes left. Can you share how to add Candu to an iframe, please? Yeah. So if you actually go to our installation docs, which is docs.candu.ai, which incidentally were all built with Candu, we have an installation method that's specifically for iframes. I know that's one of the easiest ways to add content to your site. You can also do it with Google Tag Manager or Script Tag. There are low-key ways to add Candu to your site. I've done it, and I am not a developer, so or you can add it to a WordPress site. All of those options are available on our doc site to add it in quickly. If there are any other questions, please flag them now. We can also show you really quickly another example of us using Candu is that we actually built our whole dashboard with Candu elements. So as you can see here, this is an example that I built for myself, but you can add some custom branding for different clients. You'll see that the webinar we're putting on right now is live in our dashboard. So if you wanted to watch it through there, you could. Another really cool story that I thought was great for user onboarding data analysis is and A/B testing and all these things and sort of perfecting the process are really valuable things. When we were going through our first iteration of our checklist, we had our create content section, keeping it sort of short, and then our published content section, which included all of our installation methods like we were talking about. An iframe is right here if you want to click into that and learn more about it. But we were having this problem that people were missing whitelisting, which is really important. So they'd go and hit publish and they'd expect to see content on their site. And instead they would have some errors, exactly the opposite of what we wanted. And so we got a couple of support tickets about this, and we could have waited to get a ton of data and waited, in a typical situation, we would have waited because we'd need enough signal to encourage our engineering team to do it. But in this case, we saw it twice. We said that's enough. And so we actually broke out whitelist your domain as its own setting to tell people to do that. And since then, we've gotten 0 tickets about that. And so not one to waiting and collecting data, but I think when you're thinking about trying to create the best possible onboarding experience for people and you're hearing feedback, to be able to change really quickly on the fly to make it a better experience for them is really powerful. Cool. Do we have any other questions? Yes, Brad asked, could you explain the user ID? This is a unique ID of the user viewing the page. So when you are passing over data to Candu, I think every web page probably collects user information slightly differently. But if you're tracking a user ID, so if you track who's visiting your page, so typically this is within a logged in experience, you can, in the installation method, send us that user ID. When you're in our content section, you can track who's viewing content and how they're interacting with it. So obviously, we're tracking all of the button clicks, all of the interactive elements. And so if you're sending your user IDs over, you can actually take that data back and compare it to downstream effects. Because obviously, again, all of this, sometimes I think the focus changes from I want people to get to this aha moment to being I want people to complete the checklist. And I think Intercom is a great example of they focused on a few things that you need to accomplish and then have more checklist items that you can accomplish. But their goal is really to get you to a certain place where you've done enough that you know how to use their software, and then you can get deeper if you want. And your goal with the checklist should, again, not necessarily be to have everyone check off every single step, but to get to whatever your defined aha moment is that they're really using your software well and understanding it deeply. Awesome. Okay, well, we are at the bottom of the hour, I guess. That concludes this week's webinar. We're going to continue doing these topic area webinars moving forward, I think. So if there's specific topics that you think are interesting or UI patterns that you'd like to explore, please ping us on LinkedIn. I also want to note that we are starting, sorry, we are going to go back to this lovely slide deck for 1 second. We are starting a beta program. If you are interested in testing out Candu, giving us feedback, trying Candu on your site, please email adam@candu.ai and we can set you up with a beta so we can get your feedback and let you try out the software and build your own dynamic onboarding. We're happy to schedule a session with you.
Yeah. Georgia, this is fun. Thank you, everyone.
This is great. Thanks all.
Bye.